We're putting on a net bait, pocket crawl. There's a ton of gar and I keep missing the bass because of the gar. And so we're going to go to the bottom. We're not going to be bedding right here for obvious reasons. I mean, it's kind of a river. That's a fish. Don't want that big hook in my hand. It's one. This is the Abu Garcia, what do they call it? Revo SX. The 2SX20 6-1 gear ratio. 9 ball bearings, 33-inch retrieval. I think the drag's like 10 or 11 pounds. They say you should, max like 175 yards, 8-pound braid. What is it? I don't even know what the other one is. Of mono, 120 yards of mono at 8 pounds. The braid thing, I wouldn't necessarily pay attention to that much, unless you're one of those guys. But the monofilament, I wouldn't even put mono on this thing. And if you do, I would get something really, really, really cheap. The only reason I say that is because this sucker casts like you wouldn't believe. Like I'm not even kidding. You're going to see it because we're going to the water. Yeah. Oh, that's my bad. My bad. You're on the line. No, you good. Oh, shit. It's a new lunker hunt. So, here's where I'm at. Some people are going to be like, oh, this guy's an idiot. It's fine. I can take it, whatever. But here's the facts. That Revo SX by Abu Garcia, I have so much trouble casting with braid. Like, what I mean by that is I cannot cast probably 60 yards with braid on anything. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe just the lower end reels, when they spool it on a little bit stickier than the others. I'm not sure, but with this Revo, I don't have that issue. In fact, because I don't have that issue, it brought up a bigger issue, which is accurately casting, but that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the reel. That's on the rod. So we'll talk about the rod here in just a minute, but here's what I want to say about it. I ran it in every way that you could think of. Only thing I didn't do would be trolling with it, just because I don't troll fish. I don't know. It's just not me. But everything I've ran it. Texas rig, Carolina, I mean, you name it, I ran it. Now, a lot of that comes back on the rod, and again, we'll talk about that in a minute. But a lot of people out there say you need to use this reel for, if you're going to fish on the bottom, use this reel. It's got a better this. If you're going to be up top, you need to be using this because, it's got better torque, retrieval rate, et cetera, et cetera. That's great, and that's fine. And if you want to be one of those people, more power to you. However, the Revo SX is good to go. You could tie, if you're going to a bass tournament tomorrow or a catfishing tournament or anything really, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend using it for catfish just because bigger catfish, you know, plus it's a bass reel, it's kind of smaller profiled. But you could use it for carp. I'm going to use it for carp. What I'm getting at is you could tie on 3 of those suckers. You could put on braid, mono, another 100 braid. You could put on floral, whatever you wanted to put on, and it's going to perform great. It's just like nothing happened. It's almost like the cars that the automatic downforce kicks in when they get to a certain point. The computer kind of takes over. It's kind of like that, though that doesn't happen. But it's very easy, is what I'm saying. You can get this thing, put it together, put it on your rod, any rod you want, and it's going to perform flawlessly. As I said, we're going to talk about the rod now. I got it on a 7-foot Ike. Now, that was not a package deal, but I got them at the same time. And so the rod is a whole different ball game when it comes to, you know, different methods, this, that, and the other. And if you're watching this, you know all that. I don't need to break it down for you. But the rod with this reel is scary. Let me tell you why. This rod it's a general finesse rod. I am not kidding you. I can tie on like a 1/4 ounce float, and I can cast 100 yards no problem. And I confirm that in the majority of the footage that you've seen. And if you didn't see it, here's another one for you. So, with that being said, running braid, running Texas rig, running anything really with weight on it, with that rod tip in a small area, I would definitely consider not doing it. Or if I did, I would get a shorter rod, and I would go as far as dropping it down to like 6 foot. And the reason I say that is, if you're going to fish in like creeks and things like that, and you're going to fish from the bank, that long rod, you lose control of your bait and your target. The shorter rod is going to help you out. However, if you're in a kayak or a vessel, or you're sitting, say, on like a bridge or something like that, where you can cast straight out without worrying about, you know, casting from the side, trying to skip it under something, you're going to be totally fine. But fishing where I fish the majority of the time, I can get all the way to the other side, which is awesome. However, sometimes I need to get to the other side, but I need to be lower. Or sometimes, because the way I cast overhand, I got to, you know, get over here and help the wind carry my lure. But there's a couple branches there, and if I had my 6 foot, I would be fine. But with that extra foot, you know, it really, really, really messes with me. That's the only bad thing about it.
Oh, that's a fish, baby. Hell yeah. Oh. Come on. Good fish. Good fish. It's a fatty. Good 1 pound fish there.